This is Barnstable Today for Tuesday, January 20th. Welcome aboard. I'm Mark Mumford.
A new Citizens Academy launches in Town Hall, but this time with a twist. That's our top story. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kevin Friel.
This time, the close-up look into the workings of Barnstable town government is being presented to 34 town employees.
Town Manager John Klim was there to kick things off, and he spoke of the track record that Citizens Academies have established.
Well, it started with our police department because, as you probably know, we have a very successful Barnstable Police Academy. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's been over 500 or 600 graduates from that academy. And so we had a basis, a model to work with. We also looked around at some other communities, first in Massachusetts and then nationally, and were surprised that very few communities do something like this. But the purpose is to get a group of citizens in to first and foremost, allow them to learn more about their community, but just as importantly, to allow us to hear and to establish a relationship with our citizens. And I remember when we proposed it, there were many naysayers that were going to say, you're not even getting enough students for the first class. Well, 12 classes later, and a waiting line later, we still have community interest. And so that made us start asking the question, well, I thought citizens weren't interested. Well, how come they participate in the annual survey, and how come they view the programs on Channel 18 or on our website, or how come they come to the academy, which is no small commitment on their part, to commit to 11, 12 weeks, especially in the winter session with this weather problems, is a pretty significant commitment.
Meg Loughran, who produces the Citizens Academy's programs, along with Susan French, briefed the new class of town employees.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Meg Loughran. This is Susan French, and we're the co-facilitators of Inside Barnstable Town Government. We want to thank you very much for coming, and we won't say you're guinea pigs, but in a way you are. This is the first time we've ever done an Employees Academy, and we're really, really excited about it. As John said, 6 years ago, these sessions started, and it was really John's initiative. He approached us and said, laid out what he wanted to do and said that I need somebody to organize it. And of course, Sue and I, being teachers, that's what we do best, so here we are. And we really picked the brains and have to give a lot of credit to the Police Academy. They met with us, they talked about, potential difficulties that they ran into, and in addition to that, we also drew on information and experience from people in other states. And, we're still surprised that more communities in Massachusetts, but particularly on Cape Cod, aren't doing this. And we feel very, very fortunate, as should you, I think, that you have this opportunity. Because this is really a one-of-a-kind program on Cape Cod. The employee that suggested doing this type of academy, I think, really saw that there was sometimes a lack of understanding, not only about what other departments do, but how other departments might interact with each other, and also kind of the fiscal or the financial, budgetary, issues that go on within each department. So that was one of the main impetuses of this particular endeavor.
The latest edition of the Barnstable Citizens Academy started last Friday and will run for the next 3 months.
Meanwhile, since 1994, single veterans have been taking advantage of transitional housing on South Street in Hyannis.
One disgruntled resident's complaint about living in one of the 2 smallest rooms in the 10-room facility resulted in an agenda item at the latest Board of Health meeting.
2 of the folks who oversee the housing program, Alan White, president of the Healthcare Management Association, and Merrill Blum, executive director of the Veterans Outreach Center, appeared before the Board of Health to ask for a variance to cover the 2 smallest rooms.
Hyannis people have been compassionate to the homeless, and for 15 years this property has been without incident of any sort. The population that it caters to are considered occupants rather than tenants, and have strict rules and regulations that they have to adhere to. As it is transitional housing, it lasts as little as 1 day to 2 years. It combines counseling, education, and personal development so that we can transition is the word, them as good citizens back to the community. We have been under close scrutiny by HUD. Inspections are twice a year, and for the entire building, and there was a room change. When there is a room change, PH1 comes and does a room inspection. Some room changes have made based on the occupant's request and seniority. In 1994, and I think this gets to the heart of the matter, it was established as a 10-room facility. Occupancy certificates were issued after elaborate changes were made to the facility to approximately $250,000. A handicap bathroom was installed. It was fully sprinkled and tied to the Hyannis Fire Department on High School Road. Handicap ramps were installed front and rear, and at all times, Barnstable authorities were involved in the project. And that included the health department, the building department, the town manager, who was at that time, our assistant town manager, Tom Lynch, was the head of the Barnstable Housing Authority, and they all were involved.
Alan White agreed that the 2 rooms in question are small, but they fill an important need.
I am aware of room sizes, so when you talk about room sizes and the amount that should be allocated to each one, I was very much aware because we did Whitehall Manor Nursing Home, Whitehall Pavilion, Whitehall Estates. I've been aware of what our room sizes should be, how much room should be allocated to each patient, and so forth. But in this particular case, we all were aware of the fact that there were 2 rooms that were undersized by a very small amount. There was a variance issued, and because the issues such as room size and so forth were weighed under the provision that was so designated at the time, variances were issued. I make notice of the Mass Code of Regulation, Title 105, Department of Public Health, Chapter 4, State Sanitary Code, Chapter 1, General Administration Procedure 400.8, a variance. We request that we will be allowed to continue, so we're making a request that we be allowed to continue with the facility as it is, as it was grandfathered rules or occupancy certificate issued in 1994, and variances already allowed in the Mass Code. For 15 years, we have been under the scrutiny of all agencies, including town agencies and so forth, and a problem has never occurred until a disruptive occupant who was under eviction process continued to call the health inspector with incidents, much of which were of deliberate sabotaging of the facility's integrity. I and our team of veterans, Barnstable Housing Authority, and others are here to answer any and all questions, and that means Merrill from the Vets and Sandra Perry from the Barnstable Housing Authority. We have submitted documentation, as I hope you have seen the documentation, which is everything that has taken place since 1994 on.
The Board of Health granted the variance for the size of the 2 smallest rooms at the transitional housing for veterans on South Street.
Meanwhile, as far as the meeting schedule here in town is concerned, it's busy tonight, starting at 6 o'clock with a special meeting of the school committee in the night lecture hall over at the high school.
Also at 6, it's the Airport Commission meeting at the airport. At 6:30, it's the Conservation Commission in the Town Hall hearing room.
At 7, it's the Barnstable Historical Commission meeting in the school administration building. Then tomorrow evening at 7, it's the Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission, also in the school administration building, and Shellfish at 7:30 in the MEA conference room off Finney's Lane.
And keep in mind that the vast majority of all the public meetings here in town are available on demand at the town's website, town.barnstable.ma.us. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kevin Friel.
We'll meet you right back here tomorrow. I'm Mark Mumford.